Diddy has been dropped by every brand he ever worked with, and the FBI has seized his private planes and mansions. Diddy is panicking after his revenue just dropped to zero. Additionally, Diddy's legal team has just submitted a fifth bail application. Can Diddy get out of jail without going bankrupt? Does this mean that Diddy's career is over? Now Diddy's in a tricky situation. Statement of the year. Yes, I believe it's over. Do you believe it is over? I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment, right? But you think it's over with him, like when he gets a cell? Next to R. Kelly? I don't believe so. I don't think he gets locked up. He skates. I believe he skates or visits places like Bali. Oh yeah, isn't that a move? I want to declare right here over these digital airwaves of YouTube that the career of Sean P., it is over with Diddy Combs as we know it. This is over. It's over. In the worst possible way, one of the worst possible ways you can imagine. Before this trial started, Diddy was the second richest person in hip-hop. He had more than a dozen brands under his management, a net worth of more than $1 billion. And he regularly hung out with Jay-Z and Mark Cuban, the mayor of New York. Eric Adams even gave Diddy the key to the city literally weeks before his trial. It's 2020, everyone. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. He already has the keys to some pretty exclusive places. Now Sean Diddy Combs can add New York City to that list. It's Diddy Day in the city. Videos have been playing on the Jumbotron for TSX Broadway, and the crowd waited. The mayor and the artist enter at approximately 11:30 a.m., the bad boy. In politics is giving the key to the city to the bad boy in entertainment. I want to thank y'all for this honor and just recognizing me being from New York, giving me the key to the city. Diddy finally has the key to the city. Today's event coincides with the release of his new album, the Love album, Off the Grid. Diddy's empire is crumbling. All of his companies are bleeding money, while brands have distanced themselves from Diddy. He even had to return the key to New York after his arrest. The same people who called Diddy their best friend are now stepping away to protect their image. New tonight, Sean Diddy Combs returned his honorary key to the city at the request of Mayor Eric Adams. The Harlem native was awarded the key last September, but returned it on June 10th. Okay, so let's get started right away. Check this out. This guy Diddy, when you look at his net worth, 2022, he's a billionaire. Oh, we hear it. You see it all over the place. Today, net worth roughly $300 million, $400 million. His net worth, if you look at it, was a lot of spirits. 70% was spirit, $700 million, $50 million was private investments. Then you see $75 million cash, $100 million real estate and collectibles, $75 million catalog and intellectual property. Go to it right now. Only $150 million is spirits. He lost $550 million there. Cash is lower, and a bunch of other things are lower there. So, what happened during that time when you think about his network? Diddy never had any real friends, in fact. Mayor Eric Adams was arrested for corruption. Weeks after Diddy was arrested, let's not forget that every relationship Diddy was in was a business relationship. Jay-Z didn't even speak out about his supposed best friend once during the entire trial. This how I really feel, right? Other than him just being a freak. I have no idea how you ended up in that position and behaved in such a wild manner. It just leads me to believe you don't have no real friends around you. Because if you're worth $1 billion, and you're the guy that has all of these different people employed, like literally, you're the reason all of this stuff is happening, all of these people have jobs. You mean to tell me not one person says, bro, you gotta stop around with all these drugs, bro? Gotta stop around with this all alcohol? Bro, you need to stop around with all these girls, bro. Stop it with the prostitutes. Why? Do you have guns in your house with a scratched serial number? It's like no one approaches and asks, what the hell are you doing? Big breaking news tonight. And for the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes. ABC News reporting that Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We do not know yet the exact charges. Federal authorities have been investigating Adams and members of his staff, issuing subpoenas for documents and cell phones. A number of administration officials have resigned, some of them also friends of Mayor Adams. Again, Eric Adams, the 110th mayor of New York, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. The most recent information will be available online and at 11 on Eyewitness News. Diddy believed that his time would never come and that his influential friends would shield him from the repercussions of his actions. Diddy made a deal in 2007 to promote Ciroc vodka with the burgeoning liquor industry giant Dow. This deal made Diddy over $400 million. It was the reason he became a billionaire in the first place. Allegedly, Diddy wanted to cut Diageo out of the deal and take over Ciroc, but that's when Dio cut him off completely. Diddy is being sued months later. Did everything just happen by chance? I mean, for me, it kind of fit my brand. You know, my brand, I was known as the king of celebration, the king of parties, and I wanted something that was luxurious, and aspirational. And I saw an opportunity in the ultra premium sector of vodka. I was naturally a vodka drinker, and you know, I knew about Ciroc, and I knew that it at the time it wasn't, people weren't really connecting with it with the messaging. And so I proposed to Diageo. Maybe we enter a partnership. Let's see what happens. I told them these enormous numbers that I believed I could reach. And, you know, you hit them. We are extremely proud of our marketing strategy and the success we have achieved. We are also extremely proud of the responsibility awareness we have brought to the industry. When you compare him to some other people net worth-wise with Jay-Z, Dre, Diddy, and Kanye, this is what it looks like. Blue is Dre, orange is Jay-Z, green is Diddy, and purple is Kanye. Look what happened here. Thus, Jay-Z continues to rise. In 2011, he was roughly $450. Today, he's $2.5 billion. Dre moves up from the $150 million he had at the time. He's worth roughly $980 million today. Diddy goes from 450, same place, $2 billion down to $300 million. And in Kanye, it goes from wherever he was. You look at the report today, you see $300 million or $2.77 billion, depending on who's doing the audits. Forbes says $300 million. Okay, so let's go look at the SRO deal. What happened? So Diddy in 2007 does the Ciroc deal, which is a partnership with Diageo to revive Ciroc. Vodka taking a 50/50 profit sharing role rather than the standard endorsement as brand manager and CMO. He elevated the brand from 40,000 to over 2 million cases a year, making it a premium product. Now keep in mind, if you don't know who Diageo is, Dio owns everybody. Johnny Walker, Crown Royal, Smirnoff, Kettle One, Don Julio, Casamigos, Captain Morgan, Bailey, Irish Cream, Guinness. They own all these companies. So, Sack, hey, this is big. We're bringing Diddy in. He's going to take it from 40,000 to 2 million. Profitable. Is great. Let's make some money together. 2013, Dion Tequila co-ownership. Diddy and Diageo jointly acquired DeLeon Tequila, making it a deeper investment relationship. May of 2023, Diddy sues Diageo. Actio Diddy. File a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the DeLeon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. So far, Diddy has lost brand deals, had to sell his plane, put his mansion up for sale, and even give up his passport. Diddy's career in hip-hop is over. Diddy is running out of time and money. Insiders say the legal fees alone are draining his accounts. And with the FBI seizing his assets, Diddy doesn't even have control over his own bank accounts anymore. Keep in mind that Diddy used his personal mansion and plane during his crimes. His planes were involved in the transportation of trafficked minors. Those planes worth tens of millions of dollars are now in the custody of the FBI. Fox Business. Network's Taylor Riggs says Diddy's financial bleeding shows no sign of stopping. All I know is that good attorneys charge a lot per hour. We know that they have a big case ahead of them. They also have a lot of those civil trials. Had a big year this year. $60 million private jet has already been sold. The snazzy plane, sports cars, mansions from LA to Miami and the Hamptons, $1 million in jewelry. and over 20 mil in top-of-the-line art, including works by Andy Warhol. That's just a short list of Diddy's physical wealth. But now, with his legal nightmare getting even more frightening. Diddy put his Beverly Hills mansion that was rated in March on the market for $61 million. If people don't want to touch anything with your name on it, you have to look at other tangible assets that you can sell. The 54-year-old's long legal fight ahead includes over 24 current cases alleging sexual racketeering. Mia Svently denied all the charges and accusations against him, and a Justice Department forfeit action that could cost him his empire. An empire that prosecutors allege was built at least in part through a pattern of criminal activities, including alleged sex trafficking, drug distribution, and violence, all used to advance what they call a racketeering enterprise. In the unsealed indictment, prosecutors outline how his business and personal assets allegedly played a role in carrying out or concealing the crimes. This means any assets connected to the behavior, even indirectly, could be seized, including real estate, companies, vehicles, and aircrafts. Now his $60 million private jet has reportedly already been sold. The Beverly Hills estate is currently on the market for $61 million. And while Combs still owns his $48 million Miami mansion, a judge denied his request to use it as collateral for bond. No one knows exactly how much of Diddy's fortune is going to be seized by the FBI, but one thing's for certain: Diddy is not going to have much left once they're done with him. Even now, Diddy has lost over $600 million, and he hasn't even been sentenced yet. By the time Diddy gets back out, there's going to be nothing left. No brand wants to work with Diddy, and all of his celebrity friends have abandoned him. In an effort to protect what's left of his assets, Combs hired STFR Casella, former deputy chief of the Justice Department's Asset Forfeit and Money Laundering Section, to fight the forfeit action. If the jury finds Combs guilty, it will be up to them to determine how much of Combs' assets are subject to forfeit. Anything forfeited after a conviction could be used to support alleged victims. Sean Combs denies all allegations. And to help us break down what's at stake, I'm joined by Jim Trusty. He's the former chief of the Department of Justice Organized Crime and Gang Section. Jim, thank you so much for coming on today. Sure, good to be here. So Jim, let's start with the forfeit. This isn't just about prison time anymore. Prosecutors want his empire? From what you've seen in the filings, how aggressive is this? Well, it looks to be very aggressive, and there's a couple of reasons I say that. The first is, it's very broadly worded. What they're talking about is essentially any property, real or personal, that could constitute either facilitating property or instrumentalities, they call it, or proceeds. And so that's kind of the whole business empire of PD being at risk. So, that's the second part, which is it's a RICO case. A criminal enterprise case, where they've defined the organization. The criminal enterprise has not just Sean Combs, but has all these business interests that he has, including liquor labels, music labels, everything else you can think of. So they've set it up in a way where when they get to a forfeit phase, if there's a conviction, the sky's is the limit, and it looks like they're going to try to take a piece out of him everywhere he's ever touched. According to one insider, Diddy's legal fees are piling up, too. Ex-federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, founder of West Coast Trial Lawyers, said, "I expect Diddy to spend 8 figures or more than $10 million on defense fees when it's all said and done. Top-tier criminal defense attorneys in complex federal cases charge retainers of $1 million or more. Diddy has a small army of lawyers working on his case. That's expected when his net worth is reportedly $1 billion and his life is on the line. And here's what people don't realize. Diddy's not just burning money on defense. His income sources are collapsing one by one, if not already collapsed. Ezra's parent company, Diageo, dropped him quietly. No fanfare, no public fight, just a quiet, chilling severance. Revolt TV is bleeding viewers and advertisers amid backlash over Diddy's involvement. Staff are quitting. Execs are jumping ship. He already sold his stake in it, but now that's dying. John John is a ghost brand, barely sold in department stores, relying on licensing deals that are now being revaluated. That $400 million fortune is shrinking fast, and Diddy knows it. Right now, Diddy doesn't know just how long his sentence is going to be, and he knows that the longer he stays inside, the more money he will lose. To try and clean up his image, Diddy just joined a rehab program. Diddy's lawyers are claiming that his mental health issues were the reason he was such a disgusting person. Diddy hurt a lot of people, and blaming everything on mental health is wrong. Appease the judge so he can help either with the sentencing or the fact the judge may release him. Now, based on all that and the programming and stuff like that, even if he does the program and stuff like that, the prosecution is still going to say, yo, listen to me. Okay, he did the program, he did that, but this is how much time and more time somebody else who had the same kind of crime. This is how much time they did. Because if you notice, the judge asked the defense for a record or court cases of people getting time for this. So you know what the defense going to do? They're going to come up the least amount of time that people got for this Mann Act charge. So now you got the prosecution. You're going to put in the most time that somebody got who did this thing for this who did this crime. So now the judge is going to look at the programming, look at the Presensus report, and decide what kind of time he's going to give them. But all that programming that he's doing, all criminals, anybody who go to jail, if it's for drug dealers, they go to jail. Some of them don't even use drugs, but they take a drug class, take the drug courses so it could look good on their record when they go in front of the probation and they go back in front of the judge. If they did a domestic violence, they take the domestic violence course. They take the domestic violence course. So then when they go back and judge, he'd say, okay, they took a domestic violence course. And 9 times out of 10, any course that they take, they're going to refer them out for treatment once they get out of jail. So all those courses and all those cases and all those courses that he's taken is to get him out of jail and nothing more. I don't give a flying F about him, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just a facade. It's some underscore, you know what I'm saying? He had enough money way before he got to jail. If he wanted to do something to get himself right, to get off drugs. He could have got the best doctors, you understand? He could have gotten the best treatment facility. If he wanted to stop beating women, he could have got some psychological help. He could have bought the best that money could buy. So all this underscores to get his sorry ass out to jail. I mean, 9 times out of 10 it usually help. No one believes Diddy's PR stunt. The timing is just too convenient. Right after his 5th bail request is denied, Diddy suddenly wants to heal. Let's be real. This is damage control, because if Diddy can convince the court that he's a changed man, maybe he'll get a lighter sentence. Maybe he'll avoid prison altogether. Jean D, happy to have you back on the platform, man. October 3rd, man. We're going to find out if did he do time or not? But I do want to ask you, how do you feel about this program that he enrolled into? Well, the programs that they put him in is because if he's getting close to release, or he may be released. So the Bureau of Prisons for the federal government has to give him programs based on his crime that he committed. You know what I'm saying? He did commit a crime. He is going to jail for committing a crime, but the time is going to be based on his pre-sentence report. So now, in the pre-sentence report, that the probation art officer, the federal probation officer, do they go by the history? If he had any criminal history, they go by the criminal history. They go by the history, the crime. They go by what the victim statements and all that. And they do this report that they submit to the judge. And submitting that report to the judge is going to have what they believe based on the guidelines of the prison system. The guidelines of the correctional are sets up based on what the time he'll do based on the crime and let's get this straight. The crime that he committed is based on the Mann Act, and that range anywhere from probably 22 to 54 months. Probably 22 to 54 months, and they're not going to probably run that consecutive. Diddy's lawyers just applied for bail for a 5th time and are now offering $50 million. In this bail request, Did's attorneys have offered a $50 million bond package, backed by his Miami mansion, passport surrender, restricted travel, no phone or internet access, and home detention under private security. Diddy is desperate to get out. Now to the Sean Diddy Combs case. We may learn this week if he will be released on bond while he awaits sentencing. His lawyers filed a request asking the judge to release Combs on $50 million bond. Combs was convicted earlier this month on charges of transportation to engage in probation, and he was acquitted of more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The government is expected to respond by this Thursday. Combs' sentencing is scheduled for October said, "No. These are all the things you did even after you knew that we were going to be sitting right here together. You're going to stay where you at until we figure out the sentencing, all right?" Well, you ask when you ask what Diddy should do if he comes home, he should do the work on himself. That's what he should be doing. He should be going to do some deep, intense therapy. He needs to find God. That's what he needs to be doing. He shouldn't be worried about no career. Shouldn't be worried about trying to get back professionally. He should be focusing on his personal life. That's what he should be doing. Let's be real. If Diddy gets out, none of his victims are going to be safe. Cassie's lawyer has already submitted a public plea to the court asking them to deny Diddy's bail.